Mike Owens here. Today I'm joined by Calvin Kattar, top-ranked UFC featherweight and one integral part of my favourite team in MMA, the New England Cartel. Cal, always a pleasure, my man. How are things with you today?
Likewise, going great so far. Nice Sunday, about to hit the beach soon. Feeling good. How's everything with you?
Everything's perfect, my man. I think fans tuning into this, first and foremost, will want to know the obvious news. How is recovery going with your ACL?
Knee's going great. I just come back from getting stem cells last week in Colombia at BioAccelerator, and it was a great facility, great treatment, professional from start to finish, and excited to be back on the mats now, getting 1% better every day.
What difference does the stem cells make in terms of overall mobility when you're training? Because obviously an ACL tear is bad enough as it is, but when you're in a sport that you are, that knee needs to be 100%.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been doing a lot of physical therapy. We're about 8 months almost in now to my since post-surgery. So, credit to a lot of that. And then I just recently got the stem cells last week. So we'll kind of just see how they help out from where I'm at now to, eventually stepping back in there. But I feel like so far, it's so far so good. I'm starting to test it out now. I'm starting to punch things more, grapple more. Rob's got the fight coming up. So just starting to get in the gym with the guys, getting to mix things more, and we'll see how it goes.
If you had to give me, say, a percentage of like intensity at which you can train, like in terms of spar and in terms of grappling, what percentage do you think you're at the moment?
I mean, I'm up there, man. Like you said, grappling wise, you can kind of always pick it up a little bit, but we're stepping on the gas now, so I'm feeling pretty good. Very rarely in training are you like always dogging it out at 100%, at least with striking, things like that. So I'm right where I need to be, at least to start getting into camps and things like that, and then hopefully I'll have something by the end of the year.
Is that the timeline, kind of that November, December range, if possible?
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. So hopefully all goes to plan, and we'll have something by the end of the year. So excited! It makes the training. It just gives it a new push when you're going to have something lined up.
Obviously, the sport that you're in is such a mental kind of conquest in many ways. You guys have to be so mentally strong to get in there and do what you do. Has it been a difficult period this last 8-9 months with the knee injury, not being able to kind of go at that 100%, because you guys are obviously built differently, the sport that you're in?
Yeah, I pride myself in being mentally tough, but this one was challenging. It's a long recovery, slow process, but I'm happy with progress no matter what, no matter how slow it is. So it was incrementally getting better. Like I said, 1% every day. You give me that, I'm a happy guy.
100%. Obviously, while you've been on the sidelines, been a lot of turnover, a lot of change in the 145-pound division. What have you made of featherweight in your absence?
Just some new ones are emerging a little. The champ still, doing his thing at the top. So it's moved slightly. It's starting to shift a little bit as it usually does, and I think it'll continue to shift by year's end. But they better not have forgotten about me, because I'm jumping back in the mix soon.
Did you expect Volkanovski to go the way that it did?
I could have seen it going either way. I was saying that Yair's been looking great as of late. He's got the tools that, crazy, exciting finish capability. And he would, in my opinion, I felt like he would have had to land something like that in order to get the W. And I favor the guy that doesn't have to land a big shot in order to win the fight, because if the shot doesn't happen, then I thought Yair would, I thought that Volk would have just, eventually got his hand raised, but the way he did it was impressive, going out and finishing Yair. So I not to say I wasn't expecting that, but I did have Alex winning.
I know it might be difficult for you to give people praise in your division because you obviously want to be the best. But if I had to give me one name of somebody who's impressed you with featherweight in 2023, who comes to mind?
Yeah, I just say the champ, man. He's continuing to impress me. I like the way he carries himself as a champ, even after surgery he's got coming up now. He's saying he wants to get right back in by the end of the year. That's just someone that you want in your division with the belt if it's not going to be yourself, because this way he keeps things moving. He accepts all challenges and challengers. So That's what I like, man. And I think he's done a great job up to this point.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Obviously, number one top fighter in the world.
Yeah, no. Does that inspire you, having the consensus best fighter on the planet in your division? Because it's one thing for a contender to go and beat the current champion. It's one thing for them to beat the defending champion, but to beat the pound for pound number one is an even more tantalizing task.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a tall ask for anybody to go out and try to beat the number one pound for pound fighter, especially in the division. But I see it as all the same, man. What better opportunity than to go out and prove that you're not only the best fighter in your division, but in the world.
It's looking like it's going to be Topuria next. Topuria, obviously, with the islammakhachev Charlesoliveira rematch being booked for October. What percentage chance? What chance do you give Topuria against Volkanovski if that fight materializes?
Be tough to tell, man. He's looked great in his fights, but I think Alex is just another level. Malfunction here. Yeah, I think the champ, he's just, he's up to this point. Yeah, I mean, Corey's looked great, but he hasn't fought the guys that the champ has fought, and the champs look just as great fighting him. So I think there's just a different level in that top five, but we'll see. Like I said, they both look great up to this point. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, if he's next up, and then that's if the fight kind of comes to fruition and happens. There's a lot of ifs, in the sport. I try not to get too caught up in all those things, but it is, fun talking points, things like that. But for me, man, my focus really kind of just stays in the gym, in the boring things, day in, day out. And eventually my time will come where I'll step across from one of these guys. And then hopefully I'll just, by focusing every day on what I can control, I'll be that much more ready when I step across from him.
Yeah, no, 100%. And obviously when you look at featherweight now, the only ranked featherweights at the moment are Max and Zombie, who I think they'll fight the end of August. So right now the division's
Zombie.
Yeah, Max, so the division's pretty wide open at the moment. So I'm sure in some ways you probably can't look too much at who's going to be next, because there's 12 or 13 guys who don't have a fight who could potentially come across Tyson's desk and say that's the fight we want to offer Calvin for his return. So I'm sure it's a difficult position for you in that regard.
Yeah, I would imagine, honestly, like you're saying, I don't put much thought into it, but now that you mention it, yeah, probably he's gonna have his hands full. But that's Tyson's job. That's why I pay his ass. And he's a great thinker. So I wouldn't want anybody else, in that position, putting these things together while I focus on the things that I can control, which is the training and just being ready for whoever that is going to be across from me.
And with that said, I'm going to go exact opposite way of what you've just said about focusing on training and give you a name, because online I see a lot of chatter about Brian Ortega versus Calvin Kattar. Both coming off the injuries, both needing a return. Seems like a perfect matchup, number 3 versus number 7. What interest would you have in that fight if hypothetically that was offered in, let's say, December? Yeah,
I got interest in all these fights, man. Ortega, yeah, he hasn't fought in a bit. I haven't fought in a bit. Seems like that can make some sense. I always like fighting up. So if you give me the opportunity to fight up, I'll take it.
Well, speaking about fighting up, we've obviously got our boy is now fighting up in Nashville 2 weeks' time. robfont has moved from Song Yadong to Cory Sandhagen. He's gone from number 8 to number 4 in terms of who he'll be fighting. Just your overall reaction to the last couple of days.
Just Rob's a G, stepping up like he always does. Cory's a tough opponent, but he's also going to fight robfont on 2 weeks' notice too, and that's not an easy task. I think that Rob could beat anybody in the world on any given day, and he has his opportunity to take out a high-ranked opponent who, with a win over him, puts him, in good position for a title fight. So I'm proud of him for just kind of staying, just hard working all year round. It helps having a nice first round, knockout in the last fight, coming out of that healthy. And, Papa Font, man, he's a new mythical fighter, and he's on fire right now. So look out, everyone in the bantamweight division.
No, I spoke to him yesterday. He said Emerald's going out for fight night, which means obviously the 1-0 mascot will hopefully go 2-0 and keep that lucky charm up. Does it feel like this whole situation, is it the cartel way in terms of the way that you guys operate? Because it just feels like to me that this is bread and butter how you guys roll.
Yeah, man, always ready to take on stiff competition in order to achieve the things that we've wanted since we've started this game. So he's got the opportunity in front of him. It's tangible. Now he's just got to go out and get it. And then what better opportunity to fight and then jock for that title fight, and then at home 2 weeks later have that title fight be happening. I think it's all coming together in the right way, but obviously we still got a tall task ahead of us. But I think Rob's well equipped to handle these things. I think he's shown it over his career, and in a couple of weeks we'll see it again.
What role do you play in the next 2 weeks, Cal? Because I'm not 100% sure where you're at in terms of sparring, and obviously the whole kind of camp has been turned on its head now. You've only got essentially one real week left of camp and then fight week. So what role do you play in terms of getting Rob ready over the next 2 weeks?
Well, next 2 weeks, I'm the Robin to his Batman. You know, this man's going into war. I'm gonna get him whatever he needs and whatever he needs me for. But you know, he's got a great support system with Kathy. She handles most of that. He's dotting his I's, crossing his T's. There's not much I could do for him other than really just kind of be there and just support that. You know, it's not always what you say or what you do. It's just kind of being in the room and that being an extra set of eyes. You know, I just not, you know, whatever it takes, man. Grab the water, wipe up the sweat, pick up the sweaty clothes. Just little shit, man. It all adds up. You know, it takes a try, but I think this is a good one, man. Never been to Nashville. I'm not sure if they have either, but I hear a lot of good things. Hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll really like it. How the performance goes is a lot of times how we base our time in a city or town, if we even like it. So I'm hopeful that, you know, Nashville will be good to us and I want to go back sometime.
Well, as a man who's never stepped foot on US soil, obviously
crazy.
It's not, that will obviously be different in 3 weeks' time when I come and see you guys. But obviously it's such a huge country. There's so many cities, so many places I'm sure that you haven't hit. Is there particular places that you would like to go that you haven't been able to in your life? And if so, where?
Nashville's up there. Where else? I'd like to check out some of the big national parks in California. I think that'd be cool. I've never been to Arizona. I was supposed to go one time for one of the fights, but then I had a fight booked for myself, so I couldn't make it out there. But a lot of great golf courses out there. I guess Arizona would be up there, Cali for the national parks. And then yeah, other than that, I've been to a lot of the places that I want to go, but a lot of out of country places that I'm trying to hit too. So
have you ever been to the UK?
I believe we were there for what, Rob's fight? He was supposed to fight Antwistle.
Ian Antwistle, yeah, that was in Manchester.
Yeah, back in the day, and that was a good time. And you guys got a lot of good candy out there, a lot of different shit. I remember Tyson was in his glory days out there.
If there's
I got some pictures to prove it.
Send me the pictures, and if there's a particular brand that you want something of, I'll shove it in the backpack for the next.
Hey, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Well, T's keto now. He's a changed man, but maybe we'll bring something out to test them.
I'll bring them something now. You've lit a fire under me. I've got to bring something. But talking about the Rob's fight, I was looking at Rob's record, and he hasn't really had any short notice situations in his career. Maybe on the region level, but certainly not in the UFC. You obviously had the debut against Feely all those years ago, and then you obviously had all the situation with Sabit getting that move, and then obviously moving to main event. What piece of advice would you give Rob if he's listened to this going in 2 weeks with all the turnover of the short notice and the whole situation?
Just go in and make it a fight, you know. But really, I don't gotta say much to Rob, man. He's locked in, man. He's dialed in. He knows what he needs to do. But I just say, yeah, bite down that mouth guard, go out, get everything on the other side of that opponent is everything you've worked for your whole career, you know. And I don't gotta tell Rob that though. He's aware of where he's at, what he's got in front of him, and he's in the zone, focusing on each day, improving as much as he can, and doing the little things so that on fight night he's ready to go. And I got the utmost confidence in his ability, so I'm excited to see what happens.
And I weren't saying that Rob needed your advice. I was simply saying that you've had those experiences and Rob hasn't, so it's just an interesting perspective.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like, I think he's had some where, you know, maybe they didn't happen, but I think he has stepped up on shorter notice. But man, this game's so crazy like that. I think the shorter notice was after a fight that he had trained for that fell off, and then he took another one, and then that fight fell off. it's tough, man. You can go up and down in the sport if you let it get to you. You know, you just got to stay level headed, even keeled, and just focus on what you can control, because it seems like, you know, every card there's some crazy shuffling going around, man. I do not envy the matchmakers of the UFC and sometimes some of the things they have to deal with, but they gave the Nashville fans a lot to look forward to in a couple weeks. I'll tell you that.
You said that about you don't envy matchmakers, you don't envy promoters. You're also a promoter. I know you have an event. I think it's the week after 292, the 25th, 26th of August, memory serves.
Yeah, I got a great matchmaker, Jerome Bashirs, as well, and he's doing a great job for us. So shout out to him. He's saved me a lot of headaches as of late, and he's doing a great job. So yeah, I just got an understanding of what it takes to an extent, and not at that scale, but we deal with our fair share of problems. And every time I see these blow-ups kind of happen in the UFC, I'm like, man, thank God it happens at the highest level too. You know, it makes me feel like we're all a little human.
How is all going with combat sports? Combat zone. How is everything in terms of the next?
It's great. It's great, man. Too bad you're gonna be, you know, leaving the week before, but we'll have to get you out for a combat zone sometime. It's a lot of fun, man. I love going to the events, and just we have a good chunk of it's amateur fights too. So I love seeing the amateurs go in. The chins are a little high, the hands are low, and they just swing for the fences, man. They got a lot of heart, and every time, you know, that's where I came up from. So I had 9 fights at Combat Zone, and every event I go to, it just reminds me of, you know, my upbringing and where I came from, and making the same walk that these guys did, wearing the same logos. It's just it reignites that flame inside me to go at it at the highest level, you know, and hopefully by year's end.
100%. We'll turn the conversation back to yourself. What is your message you would like to give? And this can be to the fans, this can be to the media, this can even be to your potential opponent in that December date if that comes off. What is your message you'd like to give out to the world on your return?
Nashville, we're coming. That's about it, man. I'm on to Nashville, Rob Font. Then past that, we got UFC Boston, August 19th. And then after that, we got Combat Zone, August 26th. On the back end of all of that, I'm focusing on myself. Hopefully I'll get back in by the end of the year. Like I said, like whoever it's against, I'll be ready. And I'm excited to go out and just leave it all in there, you know, another time for everyone watching back home, and more so for, you know, myself, just man, after that, it's been a long year, like you said, going out, and I'm excited to get after it again.
I love it. Last question from me, Cal, because you Americans, you do have a tendency to talk a little bit of shit about British food. And I know that you guys think you've got the best cuisine in the world. So what foods can I expect to enjoy when I make the trip over and spend the week with you guys in a couple of weeks? All of
them, but especially some seafood. We're known for some good seafood around here, but if you know where to go, there's a lot of good other food around here as well. But good thing for you, you know, some people that are going to take care of you. So we'll hit all the spots, man. I got a wing spot, I got an Italian spot, I got a seafood spot, sushi spot, whatever you're craving, man. We got you. There's none of that fish and chip shit.
I'm gonna need to book a second seat by the time I come back. I'm gonna put a bit of weight on if I spend the week with you guys. Gonna go off the diet, go off the meal preps, and just spend the week in
you're on your meal prep shit?
I do try and keep to a diet, try and keep around fighting weight in case I ever got the UFC call up.
Let's go. I like it, man. Yeah, well, I'm excited to have you down, man. Touch that US soil, like you talked about, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. You're gonna be able to see Rob Font now out of camp, and the team will be a lot more lax. Hopefully, coming off a big W, riding high from Nashville.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's the best place for us to end. Cal, it's always a pleasure to catch up, my man. I'm so excited for the next few weeks. Enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks as always for the time.
You already know, Mike. Thanks, brother.